Rivalries are the beating heart of the National Rugby League (NRL), driving fan passion, record-breaking viewership, and some of the fiercest battles on the field. Over the years, the NRL has been defined not just by its athletes' skill, but by the intense clashes between historic enemies. Here's a look at some of the greatest rivalries in NRL history. 1. South Sydney Rabbitohs vs Sydney Roosters. The oldest and fiercest. Dating back to 1908, this is the oldest rivalry in Australian Rugby League. The Rabbitohs and Roosters are more than just neighbours in Sydney's east. They represent two very different cultures, fueling decades of animosity. Whether it's South's working-class heritage or the Roosters' perceived glamour, this battle is always electric. Notable clash. The 2014 preliminary final, when Souths crushed the Roosters 32-22 en route to their first premiership in 43 years. 2. Melbourne Storm vs Manly Sea Eagles. The Battle of the Heavyweights. This rivalry erupted in the late 2000s as the two powerhouses dominated the NRL. The 2007 and 2008 grand finals, one won by Melbourne later stripped, the other by Manly, cemented this modern-day feud. Their physical encounters, often filled with drama and aggression, have never failed to deliver. Notable clash. The infamous 2011 Battle of Brookvale, where an all-in brawl saw players sent off and the rivalry reached boiling point. 3. Brisbane Broncos vs North Queensland Cowboys. Queensland State War. This is Queensland's most iconic NRL rivalry. What began as a regional derby escalated into a gripping saga, especially after the Cowboys' Golden Point victory over the Broncos in the unforgettable 2015 Grand Final. Every clash between these two brings state pride and fierce competition. Notable clash. The 2015 NRL Grand Final, arguably the greatest in league history, decided by a Jonathan Thurston field goal in extra time. 4. Canterbury Bulldogs vs Parramatta Eels. The Western Sydney War. With suburban pride and decades of history behind them, the Bulldogs-Eels rivalry is one of the NRL's most culturally rich. The tension peaked in the 1980s when the clubs faced off in multiple grand finals, turning local matches into national events. Notable clash. The 1986 Grand Final, where Parramatta claimed a gritty 4-2 win, their last premiership to date. 5. Cronulla Sharks vs St George Illawarra Dragons. The Shire vs the Saints. This southern Sydney showdown, fueled by geographical tension, has created bitter encounters for decades. Despite the Dragons' historical dominance, the Sharks' rise, culminating in their maiden premiership in 2016, has added spice to recent clashes. Notable clash. The 1999 preliminary final, where the Dragons came from behind to break Sharks fans' hearts. Conclusion. NRL rivalries transcend wins and losses. They define generations, deepen fan loyalty, and add emotional weight to every tackle and try. As new chapters unfold each season, these storied feuds continue to inspire legends of the game. Short news version. NRL's greatest rivalries. History, passion, and fierce showdowns. The NRL has been shaped by intense rivalries that ignite passion among players and fans alike. From the century-old feud between the South Sydney Rabbitohs and Sydney Roosters, to the Queensland blockbuster between the Brisbane Broncos and North Queensland Cowboys, these rivalries go beyond the scoreboard. Classic grand finals, brutal encounters, and unforgettable moments. NRL rivalries are the soul of the sport.